Why do you think people have a mistrust, I suppose, towards solicitors?
Well, it's not something that's specific to this country. It's everywhere, really. That's like every time I would prepare a video or a blog, an article, I would do a lot of research into that area, and try and I would read books as opposed to constantly looking online for information. Although the internet is very useful. But one of the things you discovered was that there's polls done every year about trust, truthfulness, veracity, that kind of stuff. And we don't poll very well as an industry. I suppose there are some in our business that are untrustworthy and untruthful, and I suppose when they do things wrong, it has a big knock-on consequence, like mortgage fraud and things like that. But they're a minority of the lawyers in every business. But unfortunately, there's this thing called salience or availability, where it's more prevalent because you're aware of it. So, for instance, people, when airline flights or traveling by air is the safest way to travel. We all know that. But people have a disproportionate fear of crashing an airplane, because when a plane crash does happen, it is a huge deal. It's all over the news, and it's available in our minds for days and weeks and months afterwards. That's why there's a disproportionate fear of plane crashes. There's a disproportionate fear that some playground Ferris wheel is going to collapse. That almost never happens, But when it does happen, if it does happen, it has a huge impact. And the same with lawyers. When they do something wrong, it is newsworthy in a way that we'd say someone who is in a different occupation doing something wrong wouldn't be. So because it's more newsworthy, it's I suppose ingrained in our mind that bit more clearly. And the stories that we talk about when it comes to lawyers are all negative. TV representations of lawyers are generally negative. We're either kind of distrustful, shifty, or not very nice. Okay, that's how the media portrays us, and that's what people see. So.
And do you find then that you have to battle against that when you're having those initial conversations with the clients?
Yeah. I spoke to a woman actually recently, and she told me that she was talking to a lawyer, and she's a very nice woman, and she said that at the end of the conversation, it was like, is there a charge for the consultation? She asked him, and he said, oh, yeah, no, God, it's hard to make money. I don't have much money. What have you got there? And she was opening her purse. And he said, what's in there? So she opens the purse and there's notes. Just give me that, That's what she told me, and she was laughing. And I was like, oh man, Jesus, that's what people. That's an extreme example, but it's happening, right? And that. What's her impression? What's her takeaway of that interaction? Is that we're all like that. We're all shifty. We're at this kind of stuff the whole time. It's so embarrassing, but it's so true. What do we got there? Oh, I'll just take that. Times are tough. But she was telling that story laughing, and I was like, oh God, that's out there, Now, not everyone's like that, obviously, but when you hear stories, you hear the extremes, and that's one. So yeah, you are battling against that, because you're almost saying, I'm sorry about that, as if I did it. So you're trying to, you have to kind of, I suppose, I don't know. That's an extreme example, but there are plenty of examples, not so extreme, that are negative, right? Usually negative. You don't hear too many people saying, man, really good solicitor, such a good solicitor, she's lovely and terrific and all like that. That's not a good newsworthy story. It's like the awful stories are the ones you hear.